up somehow.
Oh yes, my Straight Talk family, when you hear that theme song, you know it's time for another edition of Straight Talk, and time for me to bid you a very pleasant night wherever you are in St. Kitts and Nevis, wherever you are in the entire Caribbean region, or as a matter of fact, wherever you are in the world, because we are on the World Wide Web. We have our diaspora, our Kittitian and Nevisian diaspora all over the world. So I'm at liberty to say good night. I will say good morning, and I can also say and will say good afternoon, because one of such greetings will be applicable to the region in which you now find yourselves. And I want to thank all of you for sharing the link and for spreading the word, because of that we do have our first timers, and we do welcome our first timers tonight as always. And just to inform you that Straight Talk is a public service program that facilitates and promotes free expression on all issues of national interest, be they legal, be they environmental, be they technological, social, economic, and or political issues. On Straight Talk, you do have a forum to express yourselves freely. And let's, in the process, strive to get St. Kitts back to that enviable position, I call it, of being one of the freest countries in the entire world. On this program, we try to raise the level of national consciousness. We try to raise the level of national discourse by alerting our people to their rights, to their responsibilities, and certainly to their obligations. My name is Ian Patches Liburd, and I give Almighty God thanks for blessing me with yet another opportunity to join you in conversation on another occasion. And as your host, I am duty bound to remind you that I am just an untiring advocate of truthfulness, nothing else. Nothing is watered down in any way, shape, or form on this program, whether by omission or by exaggeration. We don't do anything to make our programs more interesting. In other words, Straight Talk is not about being sensational or creating excitement, especially if you have to do that at the expense of accuracy, because I consider it my bounden duty to always present the unvarnished truth, the plain truth, especially when it concerns governance in my country. And through this program, we are happy to be joined together with people all across the Federation and people in the diaspora all around the world. Some we know very well, others we don't, and many we will never meet. But some agree with the positions of truth that are advanced always from this program, and some disagree, and that's expected. But it gets a little sad for me when some become disagreeable. But notwithstanding, we thank Almighty God for helping us to understand how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. And we look forward to the day when we will sing his praise together as one people. welcome again. And for the first timers, I want to also inform you that Straight Talk is a participative program. By that I mean we include your calls and your emails. And if you're so minded to call, the numbers are 663, that's the local number, or an overseas number we have, it's 646-829-6672, and that's a US number. Or there are those who like what I call the cloak of anonymity, and we give you access via our email platform, and that address is Straight Talk Patches. That's one word, STRAIGHTTALK PATCHES. That's Straight Talk Patches at gmail.com. And we will never overlook a special welcome to what I call our junior Straight Talk Brigade or Straight Talk Junior Brigade. And we are always reminded of Dwayne, young Dwayne, Tristan, Shamar, Kevin Hanley over there in Nevis, Shamar Woods. And I'm reminded that I must hail a special group in North Carolina that never missed the program. But I'm very cautious to start singling out, states or cities, because I run into trouble. I forget some. But all of you, but in particular, a special lady who, as I said, I promise she'll be on the show sometime shortly, and you'll know who that special lady is. But in St. Louis, you'll be surprised. You will be surprised. But it'll be a good surprise. I never got the opportunity to listen to the obituaries this morning, and if you don't get up a certain time around 7:30 on a certain station, you miss them all. But if they are obituaries, I do extend condolences to the families who would have lost loved ones, and just to remind them that death is a process, so be strong, and keep the faith. We also normally present a thesis for each program, and tonight it is titled, A Leader Without Vision Who Keepeth Not the Law. And a very integral part of the program as well is our observations in review. And this is a time when we highlight the issues of the day and do some reflection. We may then ask a few questions such as what was accomplished, how has it helped others, what has changed since, and what can be expected next. Also, what new we have learned as a people, because it's a learning process. It's an educational process. And firstly, as an observation, or in my first observation, I should say, I bring to your attention a conversation of our last episode, our last program, when a member of our Straight Talk family is a regular caller to Straight Talk, raised a concern and question about what is called the brand clause in our Constitution. And I reflected upon it, and I do hereby confess that I misspoke. This is what was discussed then on our last program, and this regular Straight Talk family, ardent supporter, ardent listener, had this to say.
Let me ask you about the brand clause. The persons that's getting these passports through the CBI, can they vote? And also, can they run for politics? I was on the live chat earlier today on another station, and somebody was, saying, something to that effect.
Well, if they have dual citizenship, they won't be able to vote. I'm sorry. To run. Slow
down.
Yeah.
Listen to me carefully. The persons that's investing the money in the CBI and getting those passports, can they vote in St. Kitts and Nevis?
If they can
Can they participate in politics?
Well, they can't run for office, but any citizen can vote. That constitution allows that.
And can they run? And can they run for politics? That's the second part of my question.
Unless they renounce their citizenship.
So let me put it like this and come to your side. Those persons, if they renounce their passport, like say for instance, an Iranian get a passport from St. Kitts and Nevis, and if they denounce their Iranian passport, can they run for politics in St. Kitts and Nevis with that CDI?
I can't see why not. Well, my Stray Dog family, the truth is the said Brian clause has nothing to do, absolutely nothing to do with renunciation. And it clearly states the qualification criterion for representatives and senators to be elected or appointed to our National Assembly. And it is quite clear, very, very clear, my Stray Dog family, as you can glean from that posting there. And it is very clear as it relates to the section in our Constitution, Section 27 of our Constitution, which refers to qualification for representatives and senators in our to our National Assembly. And as I said, it is absolutely clear, my Stray Dog family, and it reads, and I quote that subject to Section 28, a person shall be qualified to be elected or appointed as a member of the National Assembly if and shall not be qualified unless he is a citizen of the age of 21 years or upwards. And this is the key point here. And he or one of her parents was born in St. Christopher and Nevis. And he's domiciled there at the date of his nomination for election or his appointment, as the case may be. So, as you see, it is very clear that one of his or her parents has to be born in St. Christopher and Nevis, St. Kitts and Nevis. So that is very clear, and for that reason, I confess that I may have misspoke. I misspoke, I should say, and do apologize for misguiding anyone, because we know that the Constitution is the supreme law of the land. I wanted to get that out and clarified as we move, or before we move on to another observation. But in our second observation, about 8 months ago, 8 months ago, Ambassador Leon Natter, who we were told has special responsibility for housing in the Jew administration. And Natter informed us about, and in his words, a significant signing, he called it, when he said this to us.
This is a significant signing. This agreement guarantees to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis what the government of St. Kitts and Nevis promised during its campaign, which is to deliver 2,000 home solutions. And look at where we are now. We are providing 2,400 homes projected over the next 4 years, starting with a 600 home increment. And this is critical. This is critical because the government has said in its recent pre-Labor Day meetings that we intend to deliver on all of our promises.
Now, Natter subsequently informed the nation that the other party to the agreement is East Coast Housing Development. And who or what is East Coast Housing Development is a fair question, and Jamie McPhail of Freedom Radio helped us in that regard.
can you tell us a little bit about the East Coast Housing Company out of Trinidad? What do we know about that company, and what do we know about the technology? Has this technology originated in China?
I do believe so. I don't have the specific on that, but East Coast Development is an affiliate of Vico Group, a company registered in the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, and most recently Antigua and Barbuda, and has been involved in construction of, but not limited to, infrastructure development, housing, civil engineering, general construction works, not just in Trinidad and Tobago, but in St. Lucia and now in St. Kitts. They are desirous of lending expertise to the government and people of Antigua and St. Kitts with with 100% funding of low-income housing program.
And my Straight Talk family, the agreement, we are told, amongst other details, requires the construction of 2 model homes. And the model homes, or a model home that I know of, is being built from something called Keepeth Farm. And Nata as well alluded to that.
You're speaking a lot about the construction process, right? That says to me that these are not homes that we are, for lack of a better word, accustomed to in St. Kitts. Tell us about the construction of the homes. What material would they be built in?
They will be using just give me 1 second, a method that is known as Keepeth Farm. Keepeth Farm, it's pouring concrete. I myself is new to it, but it's not the usual block and mortar system. These are where you set up
like slabs,
right, and you pour the concrete inside those, and the end result is a wonderful infrastructure. Wonderful.
And my Straight Talk family, when one takes a close-up view, and I did, at these panels, they look as though if they are imported concrete paper. And we're told they were imported from China. The process involves tying these panels together. It seems, my Straight Talk family. And there's a process where these panels are tied. You can see them tied with a wire at the corners. And we wonder if these homes would withstand the vagaries of the categories of storms that we do get in St. Kitts and Nevis, but more particularly here in St. Kitts, because that's where the houses are being constructed. So we are somewhat cautious, very, very cautious about these houses. But when a search was done of the Vico Group that Nata referred to, we found it seemed to be a 3-man team. A 3-man team comprises of this Vico Group. And the team, as you can glean from the content there, is Brian Singh, who is literally in St. Kitts, it seems, all the time, guiding the process. As executive chairman is a Prem Nandial, who is the deputy chairman, and there's one director, Dirk Singh. We don't know the relationship between Dirk Singh and Brian Singh. But the search of the company provides us that information, and it seemed to be just a 3-member team or 3-man team headed by Brian Singh, who is listed as the executive chairman. In recent months, however, we note the conspicuous silence and absence of the Minister of Housing, Jeffrey Hanley, and also the Special Advisor in Housing, Advisor Nato. They seem to have gone both underground. And all is left to Dr. Jew and Brian Singh, it seems, to finalize this multi-million-dollar agreement that many are now calling the real deal between Dr. Jew and Brian Singh. And when you look at the model that's being built, a queen-size bed cannot fit into this sample house. And someone reminded me that no one uses mini stoves today. So you may not be able to fit a stove in that kitchen as well. So it leads us to the next point, which is the ending of this contract. As we are predicting that everyone would reject these houses, everyone. And Attorney General Garth Lucien Wilkin spoke or told us about the process of ending the contract.
2 model homes will be built that the contract contemplates. During the construction of those model homes, the local contractors will get to learn the modern technique, the special technique that is being used for these reinforced concrete slab homes. If the government is not satisfied with the homes or the construction, whether they could withstand serious hurricanes and earthquakes and so forth, which the government has experts who can verify that, and whether NHC is not satisfied with the homes, and by extension, the end user, the persons that these homes are going to be sold to are not satisfied with these 2 model homes, then the contract comes to an end. And I can't see how that is not the best way to protect the end user.
Well, I can't really fathom that the end user, not by extension, the end user who is paying his or her buck for these homes, like very expensive homes, I can't see them agreeing with spending that kind of money or any money period on these people looking concrete homes. And that's the view of this program, or this host, I should say. Another third observation relates to the ongoing controversy with the St. Kitts Nevis CBI program and the discussion surrounding the possible loss of our free or visa-free access to the Schengen area. And when I asked the question out of the blue, Dr. Jew, as usual, tried to distract us from the burning issues and the fact that we may soon need a visa to enter the United Kingdom, for example. So he announces a new visa waiver agreement with Saudi Arabia in order to make the nation less angry or hostile to his lack of vision and poor governance of our country, when he said this out of the blue, when responding to a question about the possible loss of our visa waiver status with the Schengen area countries. He said this.
The government has taken the decision to take all the necessary measures to protect our country, respect to the security measures as far as the CBI program is concerned. We know that the Europeans have concerns, and we have met with them We say to our international partners in the UK, in the EU, or wherever they are, that St. Kitts and Nevis is serious about that. And as you can see, St. Kitts and Nevis is the only Caribbean country that I know of who just recently got visa-free access to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. That was a serious and a significant foreign policy win for St. Kitts and Nevis. And just to update, I'll be traveling to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia sometime next week. So if you want to go to Saudi Arabia, you don't need a visa. You have to do, I think it's the ETA, and you travel. Somebody else from within the region have to get a visa.
And we asked the question, Dr. Drew says he's going to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia next week. And we asked, so what, Dr. Drew? Who really wants to go to Saudi Arabia? How would we get there? A place where the customs, the culture, and so many different things are foreign to us. Saudi Arabia is birthplace of Islam and home to its two holiest shrines in Mecca and Medina. A Muslim country, 85 to 90% of their citizens are Sunni, and the other 10% are Shia. Islam is an Abrahamic monotheistic religion centered on the Quran and the teachings of Muhammad, the religious founder. It is based on the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad and the holy book of Islam, the Quran. And adherents of Islam, called Muslims, believe that there is only one God, Allah, and that Muhammad is his prophet. Now, Saudi Arabia has politicized the use of the death penalty to silence dissent. As a matter of fact, Amnesty International pointed to its flawed justice system, which metes out death sentences following grossly and blatantly unfair trials. So why is Dr. Drew so anxious about relationships or a relationship with King Salman of Saudi Arabia, who's reportedly worth US $18 billion, making him the third richest royal in the world? But there's a question we want to ask, and Dr. Drew should respond to this question. But I'll ask you, any of you who are close to him, can any one of you confirm that Terence Michael Drew denounced his Muslim association or is he still a Muslim? Everyone is avoiding the king, even the USA to some extent. But Drew is boasting of being the first and only CARICOM country to jump into bed with Saudi Arabia that has a terrible, underlying terrible human rights record. My Straight Dog family. My fourth observation relates to what's happening across the Narrows. And for some time now, divisions have queried the fact that Alexis Jeffers apparently still receives, my Straight Dog family, his full ministerial salary from the NIA, even though he lost to Janice Daniel Hodge and is now a special advisor to Mark Brantley. Lo and behold, to justify his fat salary, he made an announcement on the weekend regarding the development of the Vance W. Amory International Airport. As a matter of fact, Bronte Swanston of the NNC made this announcement on the weekend, my Straight Dog family.
Welcome to the Nevis newscast for Friday, November 10th, 2023. I am Bronte Swanston Hendrickson. On Friday, November 10th, the contract signing for the upgrade and expansion of the Vance W. Amory International Airport, VWAIA, took place at the Ministry of Finance conference room.
My Straight Talk family, recall that some months ago, Straight Talk broke the story about a Patrick Drahi who has embarked on a vast project to lengthen the airport runway in order to accommodate his planes. Because Mark Brantley is of the view, or he was told, he said one time, that Mr. Drahi despises the fact that he has to land his plane in St. Kitts and take a boat to Nevis. But this project, we understand, could even turn into a profitable business for this billionaire living on Nevis. According to our information, Drahi has already invested at least $30 million in the construction of a villa within the luxurious Four Seasons Resort in Nevis. Among the planes used by Patrick Drahi, there's a Falcon 7X and a Bombardier Global 7500. But both aircraft cannot take off on a runway like that of the International Vance W. Amory Airport in Nevis. Mark Brantley told the Visions earlier this year about a public-private partnership deal with Drahi, and he said, when he said this to the Visions,
we started some conversations with a significant investor on the island, Mr. Patrick Drahi, and those conversations, he is the owner, we're told, of the largest private jet in the world. He has made Nevis home. And so we started conversation with Mr. Drahi, tried to forge a public-private partnership where he will bring the money to finance the infrastructural improvements that we want to do at the Vance Amory Airport. And the negotiations thus far contemplate that what we will do is, rather than that becoming a burden on the taxpayer to repay, we will seek to work together to enhance operations at the airport. We have not yet concluded the agreement, but I'm just giving you the bare bones of what it is we are trying to do, and of course saying to you that we have an investor who's prepared to partner with us.
Contrary to what Mark Brantley told the Visions, Patrick Drahi, we understand, set up a structure called Blue Airport Limited, which signed an agreement since last May 2022, with the Nevis Island Administration. Upon completion of this work, which was estimated by Drahi's teams at between 18.4 to US $23.2 million to be financed in cash and loans. The revenue from the new airport or new facility would be shared 70-30 between Drahi and the Nevis Island Administration. But this would not include costs, for example, salaries of airport employees, maintenance of the runway, costs of utilities, etc., will have to be borne by the Nevis Island Administration. And this agreement, we are told, will last until Patrick Drahi has recovered all of his investment, increased by an interest rate of 2% per year. The agreement specifies. Once the reimbursement has been made, the revenue will be shared 70-30 between Patrick Drahi and the NIA for 7 years after, which the proceeds will go to the NIA. The cost of the displacement of property owners will, however, have to be borne by the NIA. And the latter is expected to run into millions of dollars by Straight Talk family. Millions of dollars, which the NIA does not have, we're told. But Brantley has also said that he is negotiating, or the NIA is negotiating with landowners. This is what he said just recently.
The Van Sammer International Airport, we continue to work on that. I have not said anything about it today because I did not have any substantive updates to give. What we're doing at this point is we are having a series of negotiations with landowners in the area about acquiring lands and trying to settle in terms of what prices they will be asking, etc. So that process is ongoing. As I've said before, the Honorable Alexis Jeffers is leading the government effort on that particular process. I do know that at this stage we are negotiating with landowners to ensure that we can get the requisite land for purposes of our project.
Many landowners, nonetheless, said that Alexis Jeffers is inaccessible. Never answers his phone, although just before elections or the last elections, he was very obnoxious to many of the landowners, demanding that they will have to leave. So be cautious, divisions, with this recent announcement by Alexis Jeffers just last week, Friday.
What is envisaged over at the Van Sammer International Airport are as follows. 1, the extension and resurfacing of the runway, the installation of new and improved lighting system, the construction of a fuel farm, the construction of a hangar, also improvements to the terminal building. We will be constructing a brand new facility for our fire officers, and indeed the procurement of additional fire tenders and so forth. Additionally, we will see improvement in the apron or parking apron, and also additional space for parking as well. So Van Sammer International Airport will see a complete overhaul and improvement to meet international standards when it's all said and done. We are hoping to have at least 5,500 feet of runway, and we are extending therefore to the east and also to the west. So some sea work will be done as well.
The NIA has in fact signed a contract with Perez Engineering and Consultant Services Limited for technical advice on moving this project forward. But it is a very simple equation. There can never be a project, or there can be no project without a budget. And further, my division people, airports are not constructed just for planes to land, but for the overall economic development of a country. So, beware. And I'm certain that we'll hear much more about this, because one landowner or property owner had one discussion with Alexis Jeffers, and when asked about compensation, his response, we are told, was that the government can't afford to pay $22 million for that property. So we don't know where the NIA would find monies to compensate property owners for their land. We know the government has the power to acquire, but you'll hear much more in time to come. And those are my observations in review for tonight, my Straight Talk family. And we move without hesitation right into my thesis. As I said, before, titled A Leader Without Vision Who Keepeth Not the Law. And my thesis zones into Proverbs 29, verse 18. So it's biblical. And it warns us, I like the King James Version, that warns us that where there is no vision, the people perish. But he that keepeth the law, happy is he. Without a vision, people will naturally lose their way and come to an end. They will perish. However, those who follow the law and have a clear vision are happy and successful. But people are not happy without the rule of law. And this government, the Jew administration, rather, rules by law. And there are numerous examples. Take for instance the smart houses being built, and the models are being built, but the public is shut out completely from all information by the Attorney General Garth Lucien Wilkin, who advanced what I consider a silly argument about trade secrets. I mean, when you look at those houses being built, those matchboxes and those panels, what about them could be a secret?
There are certain parts of a contract that involve commercial aspects, trade secrets that you cannot release, even if it's a contract with a government. And that is why the Freedom of Information Act had certain aspects that could not be revealed by way of an application under the Act. And one of them is commercial trade secrets. And there's a reason for this, because this company might have competitors. And the competitors might be able to get an unfair advantage. It's not about hiding anything. There's certain things that the public, by way of an application on the Freedom of Information Act, cannot have access to.
What is there to hide with this contract? A $600 million contract with East Coast Housing Development, a company that never ever built one home, one house, nowhere, no part in the Caribbean or no part in the world. But my straight talk family, without a long-term plan, without a vision, people are doomed to wander aimlessly. And that is what's happening in our country today. The ministers of government wander all over the world on what seemed to be a frequent flyer program, and none of them would report on the benefits, if any, that were derived for the country upon their return. Not one of them. Under Dr. Drew, the country is facing topsy-turvy terms. The poor are being exploited. There is a declining health system, declining tourism sector, a declining agricultural sector or agriculture sector. There is an increasing murder rate, an increase in fuel costs, increase in transportation costs, an increase in food prices. A single mother confessed that life is tough and getting tougher. She spoke about the price of sardines that have gone sky high, and we must remind ourselves about this.
It's getting tougher and tougher and tougher. Imagine a little tin of sardines for $5. It's ridiculous, Mr. Prime Minister, and we really need a help, but we do have a rough time.
And my straight talk family, Dr. Drew had no response. Or rather, he gave a silly one. to the plight of this single mother when he said this, my Straight Talk family.
When the sardine goes up at the manufacturer's end, we have to import that. We don't make sardine here, we import the sardine. If you have increase in food internationally, it will be reflected here. We can't control so much how much a sardine is bought for in America. And we can cut out all the taxes that we want. You can still come in at a cost, and the trader has to make a profit. They have to ship it.
Yes. He talks about the trader making profits. He's protecting that. Yet he wants us to stop eating Kellogg's.
However, I want to say to our people that we have alternatives. For example, and I would like to point out that a box of Kellogg's, same size, I think it's 21 grams, same size, costs about $21 plus. If you get the Sunshine brand, it's half of that. It's about $11. So for every product that we are accustomed to, we have an alternative. I can't tell Kellogg's how much to sell this stuff for. And we have sought to decrease trade taxes and so forth in an effort to drop the prices. But if we take away everything, the government will make no money at all. Remember the carnation milk, wherever it is produced, it costs more. So no matter how you import it, you are going to be paying more for carnation milk, for example, because that's an imported item and you're importing the inflation. However, if you choose another brand, for example, Bonnie, or any other brand, it is significantly cheaper.
Imagine, with this foulness, that we must stop drinking our carnation. If you want your carnation, you buy your carnation and don't drink no nonsense. There's a cost of living index, and Dr. Drew must try to understand what it means. He must examine it, interpret it, and use it to help find solutions to the many fiscal problems in the country. Once the analysis is done, then the necessary action must be taken as a Prime Minister and Minister of Finance. Action to ensure that the poor in particular get the resources, get the amount of money needed to cover their basic expenses such as housing, food, and health care in a certain period. And as I mentioned housing, I must also add that the $600 million for this East Coast housing development is guaranteed by the Jew administration. Yet, they're not for poor people. They are for the bankable. We understand he has already put up 25% guarantee. That's $150 million as a guarantee for these housing. But Dr. Drew keeps harping on the past about the opening of the country late, my Straight Talk family. But he was one, I should say, of the biggest obstructionists to the COVID-19 vaccination program under Team Unity. Back then, he was trying to make money, recall, with the rapid test kits from China or wherever he got them from, he sourced them. He tried to make money, remember. No one expected Dr. Drew to become our fourth Prime Minister. Neither did he. But he's a slow learner, it seems, like his deputy, Jeffrey Hanley. Because after 16 months in office, he has no answer for the myriad of problems, as he has no vision for the country. He talks about subsidies, but how much? When Tim Harris was confronted, my Straight Talk family, with a pandemic never experienced by the world in 100 years, a whole century, without a template, Prime Minister Harris skillfully guided our country to safety. He introduced, recall, a $120 million stimulus package. How can we forget that?
Our package of assistance is nearly $120 million. This represents the largest assistance package announced by any government in our region to date.
And my Straight Talk family, Harris put together a team of medical experts to guide us in our decisions. I say us because I was part of the cabinet then. I recall Prime Minister Harris summoned Chief Medical Officer Dr. Hazel Laws, Medical Chief of Staff Cameron Wilkerson, and Dr. Jeffers, I can't recall his first name, who I believe at the time was president of the St. Kitts Nevis Medical Association. And they guided us as a cabinet in what was our very first COVID-19 decision, which was not to grant pratique to a cruise ship with Italian passengers on board. I vividly recall the words of Dr. Jeffers, who said, "Gentlemen and ladies, when time is past, we may look back and think that we were paranoid, but right now, I do not think that we should allow those passengers to disembark or come ashore in St. Kitts." We followed the advice of the medical experts, and the cruise ship departed for St. Martin, only to find out that 65 or more passengers on board were diagnosed with the coronavirus. From that moment, every decision onwards, the Timothy Harris cabinet followed the advice of the HEOC, or whatever it was called. We followed the science, in other words. Meanwhile, Jew as a doctor, while in opposition to the Team Unity administration, was playing politics with the lives of our people. Those years of uncertainty, having to survive a pandemic in St. Kitts Nevis, in a world that was completely shut down, it was frightening. I'm sure you were frightened, just like me. Thousands of people were dying all over the world. Could you imagine a serious outbreak in St. Kitts Nevis? No hospital beds, no respirators. So when I hear Dr. Jew and his cabinet, till today, still playing politics with COVID about country could have been opened earlier, it irritates me, as it should irritate all of us. As Timothy Harris, like him or not, Timo, as some choose to call him, he managed the country well. I'm going to say that again. Like Timothy Harris or not, he managed the country well during the COVID pandemic. Could you imagine Dr. Jew and his cabinet running this country under COVID? Many of us would have died. Many are dying now under Jew as Prime Minister and Minister of Health. And this came from one of his doctors. One of his own doctors said this in a Facebook post, my Straight Talk family. Not Straight Talk. One of his very own doctors had that to say in a Facebook post about the situation at the JN France General Hospital. And it bears repeating why Dr. Melissa Cable Wilson wrote on her Facebook page. Do we have physicians in St. Kitts who lose sight of why they choose this profession? We are humans, she continues. We are not perfect, but we have to aim for the greatest outcome for our people. Nowhere in the world are doctors always right, but my God, try your best. And this is the chilling part of our post. Patients are dying in droves at JNF. I am sick of referring patients and they are denied access because doctors are lazy or have big egos, so they can't be spoken to. The patient always pays the price. My Straight Talk family, that's coming from a doctor. Dr. Drew has no clue of how to deal with the myriad of problems, the scores of problems that are confronting us, my Straight Talk family, the social and economic problems, the problems facing us as a country, and that is clear for all of us to see. There is a soundbite that went viral over the weekend in which a labor activist claimed that Dr. Drew was trying to take bread out of the mouth of her family. But what resonated with me, and Dr. Drew must take heed and understand that the country belongs to all of us and not some of us, my Straight Talk family.
Jamie, this is Anthea, and I have an issue this afternoon with the CEO of UDC and the Deputy CEO of UDC. Jamie, I have a family member who is in charge of the security down there, and it's very heartbreaking to see the way that our people treat our people. Because we have to understand that St. Kitts and Nevis does not belong to one set of people, it belongs to all of us. And we have to understand that when someone has a job, they have committed themselves to certain things. We can't continue treating people like this, Jamie. I am a big labor. And when I say a big labor, I mean a big labor who has worked hard for the Labour Party from day one up until now.
And my Straight Talk family, look at what Dr. Drew is trying to do with our land. In 2014, Douglas went to the IMF and had to swap 1,200 acres, I should say, of land for debt. Come 2015, the administration changed and Timothy Harris paid off the IMF debt and reclaimed in the name of the people 700 acres of land that Denzel Douglas swapped for the debt. What Drew is doing now is trying to take people's land away from them if he feels that you are PLP or PAM. But the country belongs to all of us. We must tell Dr. Drew.
Government is continuous. The administration may change. So you can't come in and I get a piece of land from a government and you telling me I can't get the land anymore. Which attorney general would advise the government that? You have an offer you have accepted. They said to you, go to the chief surveyor who is responsible in the operation of the land management system to check the development, identify what lots are available, and give to your surveyor a plan reflecting where he should go and survey. So when you hear this honest government said to people after 14 months of wasting people time, they came in and they stopped ordinary people with 4,000, 5,000 square feet, just abruptly stop it for no reason, because they want to take your land and give one of their supporters.
My Straight Talk family, the latest thing Dr. Drew is now trying to do is to evade the payment of the customary double salary to civil servants and pensioners, corporations, to PAP and others. And he waffled in his answer to a question. But no one was impressed with his lame excuse advanced by Straight Talk family when asked about the double salary. Here's what he said.
With respect to the double salary that was asked about, as I've said before, we always look at our finances. We have helped significantly since we have been in office because we understood the post-COVID situation. We had to go into our saving for the reset, which cost us hundreds, well, I would say tens of millions of dollars. Hundreds of millions of dollars. I want our people to appreciate that. Hundreds of millions of dollars. To do all of this for our people. To pay for STEP, to pay for PAP, to pay for Elevate, plus all the other subsidies. And therefore, when you ask about the double salary, what I want us to reflect on is how much has the government done thus far.
And he said, and quote him, we had to go into our savings. Whose savings? He had to go into the money left there by the Tim Harris administration, the millions of dollars left in the treasury. But Timothy Harris in opposition, I'm happy that he's still championing the cause of the poor and demands that his customary pay or his customary payment, I should say, of a double salary is not broken by Straight Talk family. I'm happy that, as they call him, Timo, I don't know if he likes it, but let's say Timo is defending the poor.
Against the backdrop of real hardships in our country and the enlarging group of the ultra-poor, it is reasonable to expect that the double salary in particular will be paid this year. The Team Unity government paid the double salary every year, except in 2020, when we faced the worst health and economic crisis in world history. Given our outstanding record, the public has come to expect this payment annually. We ensured that we managed the country so very well that our fiscal surpluses and huge fiscal buffers allowed us to make this bonus payment consistently. We did so without borrowing. The People's Labour Party calls on the government to honor the double salary commitment to all government employees, including those on STEP, our pensioners, etc., and to indicate soonest when it will be paid. The People's Labour Party also calls on the administration to honor its commitment to pay CBI dividends. The Prime Minister should not deny our people their reasonable expectations.
And finally, my Straight Talk family. And we don't know what Joe is talking about the things he subsidizes, because they've been subsidized since before he got into office. The PAP. He changed it to Elevate, but it is the Alternative Lifestyle Program. And he reduced the PAP. Skellig has been subsidized since before his time. Fuel costs has been subsidized for time immemorial. So what is he saying, my Straight Talk family? The housing program of $150 million, which he has signed a guarantee did not even get parliamentary approval. And that is not keeping the law. But finally, my Straight Dog family, finally though, a former minister of government who said that Jew is his friend, and he told you that he could be the next Bradshaw. But sometimes this former minister, or most times I should say, this former minister just seemed to get it wrong. But this time, however, he was right to demand an explanation on the raping of the treasury that was facilitated by Dr. Jew in the supply of 1,000 water tanks, many call water buckets, at a whopping $5,800,000 each. $5,800 each, I should say. And this former minister was right to demand this explanation.
I want to go back to the water system project that we discussed before in a prior commentary. Out of an abundance of caution, it would be very useful if the government would advise us as to the details of that contract and the related contract to purchase the cisterns and other materials. And we want the information on the parties to that supply contract. This is government money that is being used. So any explanation that revolves around this being a private contract, that is the contract for the supplies, using our money, will not wash with me. And it should not wash with you either. I cannot overemphasize the importance of freedom of information and the sacred commitment made by the present administration to provide the highest level of good governance and accountability to the people of this country.
Straight Talk informed you before and would wish to remind you of the procurement of water tanks for citizens in Barbados. Barbados and all throughout the Caribbean are experiencing drought. And not just 1,000, every single citizen in Barbados would get a water tank. But this procurement is done in keeping with its laws, my Straight Dog family. This procurement I shared with you before and will share with you again is done within the laws of Barbados. They are a country of laws. And you can also glean that the procurement is being undertaken by the Barbados Water Authority, not by a friend of the Prime Minister, Cashley Allers. A tender notice has been published. And that is how it should have been done here in St. Kitts and Nevis. But we in St. Kitts, Nevis are governed by the same procurement legislation. But that was broken by Dr. Jew. Sadly though, as Attorney General Garth Lucian Wilkin, he has turned a blind eye to this criminal offense. And he was the one who reminded us that it is a criminal offense to spend government's money. You spend $5.8 million without satisfying the Procurement and Contract Administration Act of St. Kitts and Nevis. And AG Garth Lucian Wilkin reminded us of this.
Our Procurement Act requires that there be a competitive bidding process to ensure the government gets value for money, and it makes it a crime to spend money from the Treasury without the procurement process being completed.
We can therefore easily conclude, my straight talk family, that on the basis of the facts presented that have been proven to be true, that's why they are facts, they are true. The Federation of St. Kitts Nevis has a leader without vision who keepeth not the law. And that's my story tonight, my straight talk family, and I am not going to change it. At this time, I will entertain your calls and your emails. So I will open the lines, as I said before, and I remind you at all times that Straight Talk is a participative program. The numbers are, as I said before, 663-6672, that's our local number, and our 829, or sorry, 646, I should say, 829-6672. I always like to remind you to respect others. And of course, to achieve that, you must first respect yourselves. Let us try to be fair to all concerned, and let us try to build goodwill and better friendships. And in saying and doing the things, let us ensure that they will be beneficial to all concerned. And in the process of doing and saying those things, let us strive to build a kinder, gentler St. Kitts and Nevis. With that said, at 9:16, I go to the lines and say, caller, good night.
Good night, Brother Patches. Good night to all the listeners.
Good night.
I'm going to address two issues that I've heard you spoke about tonight. One, I'm going over to Nevis. In respect to the airport and the lands, or lands anywhere. Now, the NIA need the lands from these landowners for our national infrastructure, the airport. Okay? Now, yes, they have to negotiate with the landowners. Okay? But they have to come to the landowners with a good, feasible offer. And for these threats that was made at the first hand to these people, that government could take their land. Yes, eminent domain. But if such a thing were to happen, I believe the landowners should reap royalties. If they don't want to sell it, they all can go into a deal with the government rather than for them to utilize eminent domain. And they got to work out something, but to force a demand on them, that's a no-no. Because all these lands from our slave fathers up until now, when the land was set, when the sugar industry and the cotton industry were done, now they're depending on tourists. I think the offspring of the forefathers, they should be given the land, and the land could be handed down to their families. And I don't think that eminent domain should be forced like that. So that's what eminent domain is. If the government need a piece of property for something that will affect the natural infrastructure, then I think they should work out a fair, feasible deal with the owners. Now, jumping back over to St. Kitts and the Joe administration, I think because of no transparency, the country is in a situation. And I'm telling you, if these demand that the Prime Minister is making then he seemed like he deemed himself judge, jury, and executioner. He is the captain of the ship, and he do as he damn please. But the country belongs to everyone. I think every wealth that the Federation make, every citizen should benefit from it, whether you are far or near.
Okay.
And in respect to the CBI, I think every citizen of St. Kitts should reap a benefit from the CBI program, because it's not just for a set of people, it is for everyone.
Okay.
The passport is my passport. The passport is everybody's passport. The passport is a Federation investment.
Okay.
So, therefore, I think the wealth should be spread. And when it comes around food, first thing people need is to eat food.
Okay.
Because if you can't eat food, you don't have no energy to do nothing. So feed the people and make the cost of living lower in our country. This is nothing to do with another country.
Okay, my brother. Yes.
Thank you for that.
Thank you very much. I'm going to guide us tonight by the rules of brevity. Let's go back to the lines and thank this caller for holding. You're live. Hello, caller. Are you there, caller? We have this call online. Hello, caller.
Yes, Mr. Liburd.
I'm sorry, that was my bad, Justin. I'm sorry about that. Yes, how are thou, sir?
Oh, I'm not doing too bad for my age, so. Mr. Liburd, good evening to the listeners home and abroad. I want to address a number of things from the last press conference, and I want to touch on the double salary. As a retiree of the civil service, I continue to hear year after year that we are spoiled by several governments expecting a double salary every year. But my question is, as I am now a retiree of the civil service, what about all the candidates, all the opposition and all the governments that we give our vote to? Did we spoil them? And what about some of the candidates that we continually to vote for? Every election, they have never lost a seat. So it means that we spoil them. And we have some have gone into retirement and did not lose the seat. So we spoil those. If we are expecting a double salary every year, we are expecting some form of bonus every year, people should be glad, because the politicians expect a vote every 4.5 years, or if there is some form of forcement that we have an election before the 4 years. Also, they expect every candidate go up, expect the voters to vote for them, so we are spoiling them. I ain't hear nobody saying nothing about that, because they're expecting our vote. So if we expect some form of monetary finance year time, or some form of project or policy thing, that is not spoiling, is what we are expecting and what we are looking for. That is why we vote for these guys. And ladies, the Prime Minister seems to be very childish when there's a press conference or when he's on the media and questions are asked to him, and which he should tell the country. Now, Mr. Bath asked the Prime Minister in the last press conference how many passports he signed off on, and tell us about the Russians if they are going to get back the money because they are protesting that they need back the money. The Prime Minister goes on to tell us they're doing all kind of features, they're upgrading the program, the security, this and all of that. That is not the question. We know all of that already. What we want to know is how much passport is out there. How much passport have he signed off on?
Okay.
All he has to say as Prime Minister Tim Harris did say 16,500 or 600 and something plus. Easy like that, and the country is settled down.
Yep. Okay. I got you.
The last thing, he was asked about double salary. There's nothing wrong with the Prime Minister saying he has to look at the finances, right? Then he goes on to say there are social programs. Social programs have been there under all governments, and double salary has been paid under all governments, while the social programs was there. So the social programs don't have to do nothing with a double salary. The social program will continue and always continue whether a double salary pay yes or no.
Okay.
And this is very childish for the Prime Minister when he asking him question that the country need an answer to. Gone.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot for your intervention. Let's keep an eye on the time, my dear brothers and sisters. Caller, thank you for holding you alive. Hello, caller.
Straight talk.
How are thou, my dear brother?
Well, it's good, my brother, from another mother. It's good to hear you again. I'm glad that you shed light on Saudi Arabia. No, Mr. Straight Talk, what we going? Don't you understand the people have laws that govern that place? You can't walk around as you like in that place like that, no. Every woman has to cover them head and all this kind of politics with these places, no. So that they go ahead. Anyway, that's enough for Saudi Arabia. You have a job to do. He said, Mr. Marcus Natter says that the company is doing business in St. Lucia and in Antigua. Mr. Straight Up, my brother. Hello, my lovely sister in St. Louis and Texas Queen. Mr. Straight Up, by Thursday, I want your answer about him, the company doing business in St. Lucia and Antigua, the same houses. So, get working. Thank you so much. I'll see you when I see you. That's your homework.
See you when I see you, my brother. Yes, that's not.
Yes, be good, man.
Thanks a lot, Straight Talk family. The brother in Philadelphia. Let's go back to the line. Caller, you're live.
Mr. Patrick, good night.
How is the Bible man? Good night. How art thou?
The Bible man is wonderful.
Reading from the Psalms tonight.
So I giving God thanks and praise. Mr. Patrick, Psalm 75.
Unto thee.
The Lord said, He put up,
He put down,
and He bring down. And nobody could walk like the Lord. And I'm saying to you tonight, Mr. Patrick, when people believe to themselves them are boss, and God have everything in a hand, He not afraid nobody. And so nobody could bang Him. Whatever He do, He well done. And God know what we gonna say before we do it. He know what we gonna do before He do it. Mr. Patters, in Psalm 49, Psalm 41 said, blessed is the man that considereth the poor. In the time of trouble, the Lord shall do it. But I would like to ask you a question. What did it mean when the word of God said, blessed is the man that consider? What did it mean as considerate? No, really, and I'm saying to you, Mr. Patil, that when you consider somebody, you look after them. God put you there to look after people, not. And so, when the time comes, Mr. Patil, you are going to give an account for your stewardship. My brother, tonight, when the time arrives, you ain't gonna have no lawyer, no magistrate, no judge. So what we have to do now, do what God called us to do. And I'm saying by the grace of God, that is, look after people.
Okay.
Because the thing that you do is what will come back to haunt you. In Hebrews chapter 6,
Okay.
verse 7. This is the last one I'm going to say, Mr. Pat. I ain't going no further than there. Whatever a man sow,
that shall he reap.
And what he going to reap.
Yes.
Because the word of God says, it says, if you sow to the flesh, you shall reap corruption.
Okay.
He said, if you sow to the spirit, you have eternal life. You cannot plan potato and get beyond.
Okay, my brother.
And so, Mr. Patches, whatever you do to somebody, you not do it to nobody at all.
Okay.
You do it to yourself. So it's going to come back one of these days, and if you say, if I will know, it's too late. Have a nice night, Mr. Patches, and thank you for the time. Thank you.
Pleasure, my dear brother. Always good to hear you. Let's just go straight back to the lines. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller. Hello, caller.
Hello, Mr. Liburd. How are you doing, Mr. Liburd?
I am peaceful. I'm peaceful. You got your equipment on the background there. I want the whole world to hear you, so move away from it or turn it down or turn it.
No, man, I have the radio close to me here.
Okay, I'm hearing something though, but go ahead.
I'm outside on the lamppost under some light.
Okay, and how is life under the lamppost?
Good so far.
Okay.
Mr. Liburd.
Yes, how art thou?
Fine, thank you, Mr. Liburd. Mr. Liburd, you heard about our new DPP we have here, the Director of Public Prosecution?
I heard the AG mentioned he won his first case.
Thanks to that government house?
No, I did not.
You know about the drinking downtown, tight like a bat?
Okay.
That's what our country come to, Mr. Pat, is a laughing stock of the Caribbean. From a good, decent government to a laughing stock. Antigua choose the man from Mount Strat as Director of Public Prosecution for Antigua. And we legal man, what we have here, bring this drunken one from Antigua. You think that is fair to our petition?
That's a bold statement.
Mr. Patrick, this $500 thing. I was at government house when he dancing with the mic.
Okay.
People the shame. Okay. Mr. Patrick, the next matter. You think it's right? They have a blind woman here in Newtown, and the stop she owes $60, and the stop she $500.
Mm-hmm.
Son went to the representative for East Bastia, and he said he's going to look into it. He gone 6 months now, and he's still looking into it. You think they got a call to stop the poor woman $500? The woman cannot see. The woman cannot see Mr. Patches. This wicked government. I will call back in Mr. Patches.
Okay, thanks for your intervention there. We do apologize for the quality of that call. I've been hearing something in the background that is interfering with that particular call. We do apologize for that. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Yes, thanks. Are you hearing me?
Yes, but you have something interfering in the background there.
I don't have. Okay. I need to touch the situation with Saudi Arabia. The king from Saudi Arabia visits St. Kitts. What interests, one may wonder?
An ambassador, not the king.
Okay. All right. Stand for correction. Also, we have visa-free traveling to Saudi Arabia. Who from St. Kitts really would like to go to Saudi Arabia? Some people can't even go Antigua, St. Lucia, St. Kitts. What? And most likely there are people in St. Kitts who never even been to Nevis, vice versa. So who gonna go to Saudi Arabia? I am here in the States, okay? And people travel where they want to travel. But I'm not interested in going to Saudi Arabia. What Saudi Arabia got to offer me? Over there they have so much killing, so much lawlessness. Who from St. Kitts and Nevis, I'm not talking for the rest of the islands, want to go to Saudi Arabia to make a living? I mean, sometimes we must pick what is best for our people. And some countries, it doesn't work going there. So, in terms of establishing visa-free agreement with the world, it doesn't make no sense because our life expectancy is very short. And it takes money. People know how much it costs to go to Saudi Arabia? In the Middle East? I mean, think about that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's 24 before the 10 o'clock hour. If you have just joined me, my Straight Dog family, we are actually looking at our dissertation for tonight, which I have titled A Leader Without Vision Who Keepeth Not the Law. And I made the point, or tried to make the point, or in fact, yes, I made the point that I zoned into the Bible. It was biblical, so to speak, in that the good book tells us that where there is no vision, the people perish. Or as a matter of fact, I did in fact refer to the passage of scripture from Proverbs, which warns us that where there is no vision, the people perish, but he that keepeth the law, happy is he. And without a vision, people will naturally lose their way and perish. They'll come to an end. However, those who follow the law and have a clear vision are happy and successful. People are not happy without the rule of law. But this government rules by law. And there are numerous examples. But I'll get back to that, caller. I'll go to the lines. You're live. Thank you for holding. Hello, caller.
Okay. Yes. Good evening, Patches.
Good evening, my brother.
Okay, you're good?
I am peaceful. Yourself?
Yeah, me too. Well, I'm going to try and throw my jabs and my punches fast and quick and get away.
No fighting.
Let me start across the waters. Yeah. Patches, you're going to tell me. The government has an airport in Nevis. And
because the foreign investor, he pays the piper, so he got to call the tune. 70% goes to he, and 30% goes to the NOA. And the NOA still have to pay the people in Nevis out of that little 30%, while the piper get 70%. Now, that is the time that rattlesnake over there is supposed to ask for fair share. That is not fair share. That is advantageous share. Anyway, done with that. Let me come home to sing it now. All the time, me and Nabu been telling the people them that man, the Jew, Terran Jew, is what you call a Taliban. Why you want Sinki's people to go to Arabia? Up there, why? You see how they're behaving up there? If you don't dress the way the police say you must dress, they're going to kill you. So why you want to carry us up there? Why you never say, well, let us go up to one of those African countries, Australia? Why you want to go up there? Because of what he is. The man, they do not have any love for St. Kitts and the people of St. Kitts. He feel like St. Kitts is he one. That is why he doing what he's doing. He has no love, no passion, no nothing for nobody, no God in him. His God is a goat. God, those people, we know what they worship. Now you can tell me, somebody blind getting the $500 from what the farm administration giving, your government, your administration, and then that man gonna take it away? Where is his conscience and his love? And then he coming on the radio, chatting our gonna chopping his mouth. He resetting this and resetting that. And up to now, 15 months since Terrence Joe in the sitting as Prime Minister. And he bobbing and weaving more than Joe Fraser when he was back in Muhammad Ali. Every time people ask him, how many passports you signature and you sign off? He can't even say, well, okay, for the week, I sign off on this. For a month, for the first quarter of the year. Nothing at all. That man is running from these questions. And you know the reason why he's running? Because something is wrong. Because, Patches, if you don't do nothing wrong in your house, and police come there and say that they want to search your house for Hammond, and you ain't got none in there, you're going to say, okay, go ahead, free up. But if you know you got Hammond in there, you're going to babble and do something to hide the Hammond. Something is wrong where you do not want to tell people about the passport. Because, Patches, people like you who bright, or dons, you all know how much a CBI passport costs. And if you only say how many passports he sell, then all you work with all your arithmetic, all your sums, all your maths, and all you don't know how much money come in, and he gonna have to give an answer where the money is, why the money is spending up so wild. Good night, Mr. Straight Talk, and good night, Charlie Soldier. That is, I'm going until, because you say, you're sticking to the time, and I agree with that.
Thank you very much.
If you have any more time, I'll come back with one more thump. You don't have no plan to run the country. That's why the country are underwater. He cannot read a plan to run a country. He has none, and he will never get none. I'm going over, and it seems like all the ministers, them, when they go to address anything, all of them going with lies, pure lies. And let him tell us what happened to the ambassador up in New York for the United Nations. Let him tell us that they're hiding something. I'm going so long, Patrick. Thank you.
Thank you for your contribution tonight, as usual, my Straight Talk family. And as you may have just joined me, we, in fact, are on the downhill side of Straight Talk. As Straight Talk is heard, if you're a first timer, every Monday and Thursday from 8 until 10 in the PM. So we have some time left. I'll try to dispense or dispose of my emails. I do have a few. Sorry I overlooked them thus far, and I do apologize for that. Mr. Patches, good night. Them just come Labour treat Stanley terrible. Not one of them said a thing at his funeral. Sunday, the Attorney General think St. Kitts like when his father and them used to rule the roost. Showed up late at the War Memorial. Mr. Patches, they are all froth, no beer. Promises, 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 and not a thing happening. The people will revolt. They condemn. Good night, Mr. Patches. You got them good. This emailer wrote in some bold font. You couldn't really miss a thing. No fine font. Patches, I want to call or to tell, beg your pardon, Carl Brown, that when he calling on Jew radio station Freedom, to voice his opinion, beg your pardon, he must not let the host distract him. Carl Brown must stick to his point and say what he has to say. When people call in on the show to talk about this worthless government, the host always takes the side of the government and always defending Dr. Jew. The host used to be an advocate for the poor and needy in this country. But since the Labour Party got into government, he stopped defending the poor and needy, and now he is defending Dr. Jew. The poor people no longer matters to him anymore. He's getting all he wants from Dr. Jew. His bread has been buttered, so he doesn't care about poor people no more. He is a selfish hypocrite, reads that email. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, I thank you for holding your live. Hello, caller.
Yeah, man, Mr. Liburd. Good evening, man. How you doing?
I am peaceful, my brother. Yourself?
Yeah, pretty good. Yeah, I wanna just big up the Prime Minister in Grenada, and whoever is running the finance department there and the CBI program. I want to thank them for releasing that information, them stats and facts of their program. Whether it's Dr. Jew or his predecessors, the program was started in St. Kitts Nevis in 1984. Up to now, the citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis haven't seen a detailed, report, statistics, pie charts, diagrams, Venn diagrams, etc. We haven't seen no statistics from that program. So St. Kitts Nevis CBI was started in 1984, 39 years ago, but Grenada's program was started in 2014, and yet we have our hands on the Grenada stats. What a comparison that is. You know what I'm saying? And what I observed on that one of those diagrams that you put out there last week, the last year that was reported in the Grenada CBI. If I'm wrong, you let me know if I'm wrong. I hope you combed over those charts as well. The last year, I don't know if that was last year or this year so far. They pulled in 782 million, right?
That's this year.
Right? This year, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we got that straight down. Mm-hmm. Okay, then the previous year to that, they only raked in 275 million. So from last year to this year, there was a note on the bottom of that chart saying that they increased their revenue in by 2.8 times as much as the prior year. Almost 3 times. They said almost 3 times as much they raked in on the last year, which is this year so far, 782 million, as opposed to the previous year. So, listening to you all this time about the CBI program in St. Kitts Nevis and the other programs or whatever, they're saying that the St. Kitts Nevis program is rated top. It's been running for some more years from 1984, and the quality of the program is tops in the Caribbean. So if Grenada is raking in 782 million this year, how much do the St. Kitts Nevis citizens think that is being raked in their own program in St. Kitts and Nevis? If that program is so much rated #1 and so much rated better than the West Caribbean islands. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure some of this shit out. You know what I mean? And they don't really want the citizens to find that figures out. They don't want to. But that stuff going to come back and haunt the Federation, no matter what nobody says. It's already going in that direction. And I think them EU nations, they're not going to stop until they crimp this program down. No matter how much Drew and them run around like chickens without heads and try to appease these people. You know, at the end of the day, these people, bro, when they want something shut down, they're going to shut it down. So the politicians, them in Sinkis and Nevis, they're not trying to big up agriculture. They're not trying to bring in no new jobs. The manufacturing sector hasn't come back yet. We really only riding on the CBI money. So if we don't make preparation for the future and that CBI program goes down, then the citizens, they might suffer. You know what I mean? That's on that. Trying to forge relationships with Saudi Arabia, that's just showing me where they're taking Sinkis and Nevis. You know, they're putting Sinkis and Nevis in these rich people's hands. You know, we already see what's going on in Nevis and on the Nevis side with that airport over there. That airport would have never get expanded unless we're trying to please one person. You know what I'm saying? We forcing out people who've been living on the east side of the airport for years, and we're not. They might not even be trying to compensate these people. You know what I mean? And that's out there, man. Yeah, eminent domain, my butt. But those people, yeah, it's all good that we're developing the place, but to please one person, you know what I mean? Remember, the airport should be developed regardless, so that the citizens of that island can enjoy that traveling in and out. You know what I mean? They may as well take the Vance Amri name off of that airport when that rich Russian comes in there, because trust me, that's one of the things he might want to get done. You know what I mean? Nevis people, the people of Sinkis and Nevis got to open their eyes, man. The CBI program is forging a separate status. The status of the people who has access to Sinkis and Nevis, and the gap of the rich and the poor is widening, bro. It's a lot of rich status people that are going to become. Suppose all these people just decide to move into the Federation. I mean, we're watching right now, Sinkis and Nevis is being transformed right before our eyes, man. And the average man can't really see what's going on. The average man has so much struggles. Their struggle every day is to find food to eat. You know what I mean? The cost of living is so high, food is so high. Then you think the man got time to worry about the CBI program and who is getting access to our passports and who's buying our passports and getting access to the country? The man got to worry about feeding themselves and their own family on a daily basis. That in itself is a challenge to the common man, to the poor man, the people who has been taken off of those social programs, and the people who are struggling don't have the jobs available to them. The youths, them ain't got the jobs available. There ain't no jobs being created. You know, they man keep looking in the rearview mirror. You know what I mean? It's time to move forward, man. Look forward. The place is too polarized, man. It's back and forth with this politics stuff. Got the people, like, you know, people at each other's throats, man. Some people can't even voice their opinion. You know what I mean? As soon as you mention something about what this government is doing that you don't like, that's your personal opinion. Then they resort back to, oh, the previous administration was doing this, or they didn't do that. I mean, how are we gonna move forward with this internal back and forth, man? I don't see how we're gonna progress, bro. If somebody's making positive critique to advance the country, it's country above self. You know, it shouldn't have to be this party politics all the time. But if we don't look forward, man, and prepare for the future, Sinkis and Nevis is going to run themselves in a lot of trouble. Right now, what I'm saying, this is my opinion. I don't care what nobody in Sinkis and Nevis say. When they hear my voice, and I'm gonna say what I see. When wrong is being done in Sinkis and Nevis, people don't like to chant it down. The judicial system is corrupted, and the whole place is corrupted, bro. And nobody in authority, they're not making the steps to minimize that corruption. So therefore, the status quo continues. Different than that, some persons that just hangers on, they're just getting money from relationship with this government or political favors or whatever. But really and truly, some of these people need to go home. They need to free up for the younger people and give people who qualified some of these positions. You know what I mean? And the victimization is awful, man. It's coming more and more every day, and the people got to keep an eye on that.
Okay.
So that's my little contribution for the night, man. I wish you guys the best going forward.
Thanks for your contribution, my dear brother. A mouth full. Thanks a lot as well. And I reflected on this data, and the only prime minister that provided the data, believe it or not, was Timothy Harris as prime minister back in 2016. He provided this information to the nation about the passports. He said this. Okay, I think I have that wrong sound bite, but he gave us this. He did give a report in 2016, and he gave us this report as well in 2018. I'll try to get that 2016 one before the program ends, though. But he said this in 2018.
Last time I had reported that under the program we were advised by the Canadian banknote, who manages our passport, the 10,777 had been issued at the end of December 2015. And we have the revised information from the banknote, which says that up to 2015, really, the figure should have been 12,496. And the total number of CBI passport now issued stands at 16,544.
But I'm afraid that was from 2018. The English News Journal reported some 30,000 or 36,000 or thereabout as the latest figures. But let's go back to the line and take a few more calls before I pack up tonight. Caller, I want to thank you for holding your live.
Fraternal love and greetings.
Greetings, my brother.
Eternal strength and joy. How your night is going, brother Patches?
Peaceful. Ras Aya. I am peaceful.
Yeah, give thanks for life. Well, I hear just giving thanks listening in the program until I listen to your last caller making some indication on how you see some of the matters are failing towards when it comes to the social equality and the development aspect. When it comes to the economical status quo, when we say we deal with the CBI program, in formulating how the revenues are being brought into the country and how it's stabilizing our people under this program. Now, me like you say a lot of things, my virgin, but you know, make the point clearly. Because you say you don't care what nobody say, but me I say this year, because you're still going way off from the course where we need to really say. And what Patty and the former Prime Minister, you know, like, is that the program is a formulation by a Mason. Now, the Mason we're talking about, it was a one-man program show under the first Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis. And I'm not wrong in what I'm saying here. That's what I tell you all the time when you had your first time when I encounter you about the Mason and I ask if you are part of it, and you say, you never have indicated anything to these people in what they state within their power struggle and the economical value in our country and outside our country. And I realize a lot of things don't really bring to the emphasis. Because you talk about the former Prime Minister give our details on what the program have released in his watch from when he entered in 2015 as the leader of St. Kitts and Nevis. And then you say he give another update on 2018. You cannot play that clip as you stated. But one the context is that sometimes figures can be brought up in a kind of way and that is not factual, right? You know that, right? Brother Patrick?
Figures can be brought up and they're not factual, or what you mean?
And not factual because, when you state in fact, if you're saying you're coming in 2015 and get this kind of report, what are the reports indicating from under the former administration of Denzel Douglas or before Denzel Douglas?
Well,
that is why I would like to ask him.
What he said, right? The report is generated by the company that manages the issuance of passports, that's the Canadian banknote, CBN, and that information is provided monthly to the government. So I, for one moment, I will never ever believe that Dr. Jude does not or has never seen this information. If he said so, I believe, and I would say with the greatest respect, he is a pathological liar. I'm not telling you what you're talking about. I'm just telling you how and when the information is generated. The Canadian banknote manages our airport, our passports. And that's a fact. And that is what the Prime Minister says. The information had from the Canadian banknote. And I also said, I gave the information in 2016 about 2015. I did not pull that up, but he gave the last information he provided to the country was in 2018, and referred to the 2015 stats as well. So that's the point.
Well, I want to get a clear view. The program started from 1984. It's now 2023 as what we conclude to say 40 years of independence. So that means 39 years ago, we were implying to hold that program from that time to now, and we still have the revenue of from what in 1984 to 2023. We have a clarification of what was whipped in from 1984 to 2023. That is what my view, I conclude on the whole spectrum of this relevant information.
I can't speak to 84. I don't have to go in there. I'm
speaking on that because they start from. They start from. And the first person commanded the program was the same man, Giuliani, who formulated the ejector development. There is no call why I think it's.
Well, like I said, you're talking about 40 years ago, and you're looking at revenue from.
No, but you're educating our people on formation here.
Yeah, but let's.
So we have to put record right, and that's how we want it to sound for our own benefit. Yeah, but we're not benefit on here, And I tell these guys, if we deal with it, let us deal with it properly, and that's how we want it to sound for us alone. And I always say
let's not cross talk. I mean, I can listen to you, and I'll expect you to listen to me. Right? What I'm saying to you, right, is that you can look at the estimates, the budget estimates for this year, has in the actual figures for 2021, and it was over $500 and something million. I'll have to pull it up, right? So the estimates that are provided annually do have the figures. But the only thing is that, accountants, no disrespect to the accountants listening, but they drive the car in the rearview mirror. So you won't be able to tell us or to find in the estimates the actual figures for 2022. They have them by now, which would be shown in the 2024 budget. So you're always behind. Unlike Grenada statistics that were provided, I mean, I can put it upon Grenada statistics are more up to date, and they are provided by the Ministry of Finance, the same Ministry of Finance, and they have projected the figures for 2023, which will be over $1 billion. But we don't have those figures here. But they show you the actual amounts, the actual monies collected. But for this year's estimates that you'll get, it will have in the 2022 figures, because when the estimates are provided, the 2023 would not have been completed, because the budgets are normally presented and tabled in 2023 December. So you're always like a year behind. That's the point I was trying to make to you. But the budgets do have the figures in them.
All I said, we want a proper legislation in place to have these things drawn out in the way that the public can have a clear view of how this program is managing when it comes to the financial gravity that bring into the program at this time. Now, you make some reference in your early statement about unity, and you make a statement about Psalm 133. Well, we would like to see brethren that do it together. We would like to say brethren and sister. We don't lay out just the brethren, we call that a brethren in the whole spectrum right now in St. Kitts and Nevis. So they have the clarity to hold up and lift up our revolution stand within the African mother and the balance that we need to core. You see, so we say brethren and sisters are correcting it now. You see? Because this is not a man world here, it's a balanced world we're looking in here, A man and a woman balancing here. So I just hope that we see more from here on now. We have a clear view of how this program is going, because your former Minister of Foreign Affairs, who is the criminal in Nevis, he makes some statements say he had did some service to ask his people to do some retail and how this program was managed from 2007 to when he said in 2020 or somewhere around it. And the figures that here we received was some kind of $50 billion was in that pattern making from the program. You see? So, me also watch how these one because I'm making control these marketing of this program. That's why we say we don't see ourselves captivating out of this program properly unless we control it for our own benefit of our people, not for the individual alone. Because the people who are the, as they call them, the people who go there and look to enhance this program, they're only looking to see what they can gain to it from enhancing what the program supports, raise it in the economical stability. As they say, it's supposed to help things and go further. Well, if it's supposed to do in helping the nation and the people, then go further. Where the purpose we have this program going on still. Why?
Well, if we get foreign direct investment, it's used for social programs. Where you think all the money to build our roads and so on come from? They come from the CBI receipts.
Thank you for your information tonight, but me going deeper than what you're giving, because you're giving it from a spectrum of the political view. But we're talking about the social context that we're still facing and the troubles going here in St. Kitts and Nevis since we say 40 years of independence.
Okay.
Blessed love and honor. And I tell you, this is my bad month, and I can defend it to the fullest score. Because Saturday coming make me a loving time coming to St. Kitts and Nevis lifestyle.
Happy Earth Day when it comes, Mr. Scorpion. Okay?
Thank you, bless and keep you humbly.
Okay, my brother. Okay, I'm gonna take a few more calls before I wrap up, but I want to get to the emails. Dr. Drew cannot manage money patches. Why don't Dr. Drew shut his mouth and stop embarrassing the country? He and his cabinet getting their double salary every week and every month when they are traveling all over the world. Their per diem, hotel, and food is much more than poor people's salary a month time, but he thinks it's hard to pay a double salary. The problem is that the Prime Minister and his cabinet are trying very hard to keep poor people poor, but supporting himself, his friends, and family. Patches Labour used to say how Timo Greedy will watch Greedy Drew and his cabal traveling every week, wasting our money, enriching themselves. Drew is in power, looking after himself and his family, and don't give about us. St. Kitts is going down the drain. Health messed up, education messed up, agriculture messed up, tourism messed up, every CBI messed up. Every single aspect of our country has gone to the dogs. Only God can help us with this wicked and greedy Prime Minister and government ministers. See, one of them nearly died at the hospital. It is a warning for the government, reads this email. And this final email reads, Drew should have stayed a doctor, but a Prime Minister of an island is what he ruins. If you ask Drew what is open brackets 4 plus negative 12, close brackets, Drew will smile without a response. The people are suffering. I am working but cannot see what I'm working for. This Prime Minister have a spell like some witches and warlocks have us in paddocks, and we have to get out of this. The Prime Minister and his cabinet have to go. They don't care about us. Labour don't care about Labour is a cause government, beg your pardon. Mighty God of Daniel, we need your light in the darkness, or in this darkness. Reads this email. Let's go back to the lines. Perhaps I'll take this caller. Perhaps make it my penultimate call. Thank you for holding, caller. Are you there still?
No. Okay, no patches. I don't want me to be the final because only two little short things I have to say.
Mm-hmm.
I want the students, children who are going to school, and parents to notice what Samuel Duggins is thinking about. He's thinking about Center for the Arts. And I think the school is supposed to be priority over that. They ain't talking about building back the school. Probably they want to go up there by the old grammar school, go spend more money than the new site that is started preparing for it. That means that man, they don't want to carry on anything where you are left patches. And I want the people them to realize what this government is doing. And then the next thing, Samuel Duggins do not care anything about agriculture. Everything he come talking about greenhouse. What happened to the ground food? Agricultural people, look out to see what these men are doing. Don't let them fool you. When coming up to the next election, they come in, giving you lobster, shrimp, and all kind of thing one time. And when they done, they tell you, go see if you could get ground out to eat. Let somebody get a little minute. Thank you till Thursday.
Thank you as well.
To say what time short.
Thank you.
See you.
Thank you. You've used your time well, my dear brother. Perhaps I'll squeeze in, using a colloquial term, one more call, if I have that call coming now. But as I wind down tonight's program in my Straight Talk family, the thesis we dealt with tonight, I titled, A Leader Without Vision, Who Keepeth Not the Law. And my Straight Talk family, under Dr. Drew, I made the point that the country is facing topsy-turvy times. The poor are being exploited. There is a declining health system, a declining tourism sector, declining agriculture, while the murder rate is increasing. The fuel cost is increasing. There's an increase in transport costs and in food prices. I made the point that a single mother confessed that life is tough and getting harder in St. Kitts and Nevis. And Drew had no real response for this single mother who cried out painfully to him. She said this.
It's getting tougher and tougher and tougher. Imagine a little tin of sardine for $5. It's ridiculous, Mr. Prime Minister, and we really need a help, but we do have a rough time.
When the sardine goes up at the manufacturer's end, we have to import that. We don't make sardine here, we import the sardine. If you have increasing food internationally, it will be reflected here. We can't control so much how much a sardine is bought for in America. And we can cut out all the taxes that we want. It can still come in at a cost, and the trader has to make a profit. They have to ship it.
And my Straight Talk family, as we wind down as well, I refer to a labor activist called into a program and spoke about, or in fact asked us all to take heed that the country belongs to all of us. She said this.
Jamie, this is Anthea, and I have an issue this afternoon with the CEO of UDC and the Deputy CEO of UDC. Jamie, I have a family member who is in charge of the security down there. And it's very heartbreaking to see the way that our people treat our people. Because we have to understand that St. Kitts and Nevis does not belong to one set of people. It belongs to all of us. And we have to understand that when someone has a job, they have committed themselves to certain things. We can't continue treating people like this. Jamie, I am a big labor. And when I say a big labor, I mean a big labor who has worked hard for the Labour Party from day one up until now.
And yes, the country belongs to all of us. That is what resonated in that comment by this Labour activist. And look at what Joe is trying to do with our land. In 2014, Douglas went to the IMF and had to swap 1,200 acres of land for that. Come 2015, the administration changed and Timothy Harris paid off the IMF debt and reclaimed in the name of the people 700 acres of the land that Denzel Douglas swapped for the debt. And what is Joe trying to do now? To take people's land. Could you imagine that? It is wrong. Dead wrong. It is sad.
Government is continuous. The administration may change. So you can't come in and I get a piece of land from a government and you telling me I can't get the land anymore. Which Attorney General would advise the government that? You have an offer you have accepted. They said to you, go to the chief surveyor who is responsible in the operation of the land management system to check the development, identify what lots are available, and give to your surveyor a plan reflecting where he should go and survey. So when you hear this honest government said to people after 14 months of wasting people time, they came in and they stopped ordinary people with 4,000, 5,000 square feet, just abruptly stop it for no reason, because they want to take your land and give one of their supporters.
And Dr. Joe is now trying to evade the payment of the customary double salary and waffled. But no one was impressed with his lame waffling, my Straight Talk family.
With respect to the double salary that was asked about, as I've said before, we always look at our finances. We have helped significantly since we have been in office because we understood the post-COVID situation. We had to go into our saving budget, the reset which cost us hundreds, well, I would say tens of millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars. I want our people to appreciate that. Hundreds of millions of dollars. To do all of this for our people. To pay for STEP, to pay for PAP, to pay for Elevate, plus all the other subsidies. And therefore, when you ask about the double salary, what I want us to reflect on is how much has the government done thus far.
The government is continuing to do what Team Unity did for 7 years with these social assistance programs. And thank God that Timothy Harris in opposition is still championing the cause of the poor and demands that the double salary is paid, as has happened over the years of Team Unity except during COVID.
Against the backdrop of real hardships in our country and the enlarging group of the ultra-poor, it is reasonable to expect that the double salary in particular will be paid this year. The Team Unity government paid a double salary every year, except in 2020, when we faced the worst health and economic crisis in world history. Given our outstanding record, the public has come to expect this payment annually. We ensured that we managed the country so very well that our fiscal surpluses and huge fiscal buffers allowed us to make this bonus payment consistently. We did so without borrowing. The People's Labour Party calls on the government to honor the double salary commitment to all government employees, including those on step, our pensioners, etc., and to indicate soonest when it will be paid. The People's Labour Party also calls on the administration to honor its commitment to pay CBI dividends. The Prime Minister should not deny our people their reasonable expectations.
No, should not. And finally, though a former Minister of Government who said that Jew is his friend, and he told Dr. Jew that he could be the next Bradshaw. Imagine. But most times this former minister gets it wrong. But one thing he got right was to demand an explanation on the raping of the treasury that was facilitated by Dr. Jew in the supply of water tanks for $5.8 million, 1,000 tanks, meaning $5,800 for each tank, paid to his friend called Cashley Allers. And I think the former minister got this one right when he demanded an explanation of this rape of the treasury.
I want to go back to the water system project that we discussed before in a prior commentary. Out of an abundance of caution, it would be very useful if the government would advise us as to the details of that contract and the related contract to purchase the cisterns and other materials. And we want the information on the parties to that supply contract. This is government money that is being used. So any explanation that revolves around this being a private contract, that is the contract for the supplies, using our money, will not wash with me, and it should not wash with you either. I cannot overemphasize the importance of freedom of information and the sacred commitment made by the present administration to provide the highest level of good governance and accountability to the people of this country.
Sadly though, my Street Talk family, as I conclude, Attorney General Garth Lucian Wilkin continues to turn a blind eye to this criminality, this criminal offense, according to him, according to the Attorney General himself, who said this.
Our Procurement Act requires that there be a competitive bidding process to ensure the government gets value for money, and it makes it a crime to spend money from the Treasury without the procurement process being completed.
And we, therefore, easily conclude, my Straight Talk family, tonight, that on the basis of the facts presented that have been proven to be true, because facts are true, the Federation of St. Kitts Nevis has a leader without a vision who keepeth not the law. That's my story tonight, and I am not going to change it, as my time is done and I got to run. But in the process, I will thank Almighty God for guiding our conversation tonight. And as always, I thank you, the callers, the emailers, and the many listeners, the thousands who listen. I thank you all and remind you that you are the ones who make Straight Talk, and for that reason, I say a big, big thank you. I am Ian Patches Liburd, and in God's Spear, we will connect on Thursday for another edition of Straight Talk Until that time, be good to yourselves and to all whom you meet. And remember that whatever your mind conceive, that you will achieve. But first of all, you gotta believe. So when you wake in the morning, thank God for the morning light. Thank Him for taking you through the night. And my Straight Talk family, keep moving on. Bye-bye until we connect on Thursday.
The morning, I thank God for the morning light. Give Him thanks and praises for taking me safely through the night. For the rest of food and loving care, and for my mother's breath of life that's got me here. So whatever my mind conceives, that I will achieve, you better believe, because I do the things I should, be to my brethren kind and good, the best I could. So I'll keep moving on, I won't stop now, I'll keep moving on, till I reach the top somehow, down on my knees. The Lord I kneel and pray.